Hey everyone, this is Bradley Bush with another algebra video for you. Today we're talking about a three-step strategy for factoring polynomials. So any polynomial that you are given in an algebra class, you could use this three-step strategy to factor it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being on my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're coming back, thanks for returning. I hope you enjoy it. Here's the three steps. So the first step, when you look at a polynomial and you think, well, this needs to be factored, is you should probably decide whether or not there is a common factor that you can pull out. And when I say a common factor, I mean each of the terms has an x, for example, or each of the terms, the constants in front of each of the terms can be divisible by 2, for example. So if there's a common factor, we pull it out, and we pull out the biggest, everything that is common, the most we can possibly pull out, and that most we can possibly pull out is often called the greatest common factor. So once we've pulled out the greatest common factor, we head to step 2. Step 2 is we count the terms. How many terms are left once we've pulled out the greatest common factor? And we proceed in choosing a strategy according to the number of terms that we have. The first group of terms would be the two-term polynomials. So we have strategies for polynomials with 2 terms, polynomials with 3 terms, and polynomials with 4 or more terms. So everything that you might come across will fit into one of these categories. So here's some strategies for 2-term polynomials. First, we have the difference of squares. And when I say difference of squares, really I mean you have something squared minus something else squared. If that's the case, then you can easily factor it by using the a minus b, a plus b formula. The next option that we have would be a difference of cubes. And if you have the difference of cubes, then you'll have something cubed minus something else cubed. If that's what you have, if that's the form you have, then there's a formula right here that you can use to factor that. If it's a cubed minus b cubed, then the formula would be, for factoring, quantity a minus b times quantity a squared plus ab plus b squared. If you have the sum of cubes, meaning you have a cubed plus b cubed, or something cubed plus something else cubed, then you can factor that as quantity a plus b times quantity a squared minus ab plus b squared. Next, we have strategies for 3-term polynomials. You could first check to see if it is a perfect square trinomial. If it's a perfect square trinomial, then it'll fit the form something a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If it does fit that form, then literally you can write out the factored form as a plus b quantity squared. The other perfect square trinomial would have a negative in the second term, so we'd have a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. If that's the case, then your formula for factoring would be a minus b quantity squared. A second thing you could try would be to factor by trial and error. This kind of is reverse FOIL. You're kind of guessing because you know how FOIL works. When you FOIL something, you've got a first, outer, inner, last term, and you know how the mechanism works, so you kind of reverse engineer, but you're really just guessing and checking. If you have a quadratic and a, which is the coefficient of the first term, the squared term, is 1, then you can find factors of c, which are the constant term, that sum to the factors of, or sum to b, which is the coefficient of the middle term. And you can use those numbers to factor. If it's a quadratic and a does not equal 1, then you use trial by error factoring. Our last category would be strategies for 4+ terms. So if you have a polynomial with 4 terms or more, after you finish factoring out the greatest common factor, then what you would do is you would try to factor by grouping. Step 3, once you have factored using one of the options from the 2-term polynomial options or the 3-term polynomial strategies or the 4+ term polynomial strategies, after that, what you do is you go back to all of the terms that you have just factored and you make sure that none of them need to be factored again, because you might have to factor more than once. So you factor the first pass and you've got a bunch of things multiplied together, and then you go back and look at all of those pieces that are multiplied together, and some of them can be factored again. And then once you have made sure that none of the terms you have can be factored again, then you're in fully factored form and you're done. So let me make this a little bit smaller so it fits on one screen. So this would be a great time if you wanted to just take a stop the movie and take a screenshot. This is a very, very useful 3-step strategy. It'd be great to have it with you when you're sitting working on homework, or if you can have notes on a test, this would be great for that. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, I hope you leave a comment, give me a like, or subscribe to the channel.